Canadian winters can be long, especially for these northern NASCAR racers. But spring is moving into summer, and we're ready to start the 2011 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series season here at Mosport Speedway in Bowmanville.
Drivers, start your engines! Yes, it's the start of summer and time to get ready for the 2011 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series on TSN. Mosport Speedway plays host tonight to the Dickies 200.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Dave Bradley. Along with me is veteran Canadian stock car racer Billy Rouse Jr. and Todd Lewis will be patrolling the pits for us once again. And, Billy, here we go. The 5th season for the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series here on TSN.
Yeah, let's have at it. These guys are ready. They've been working long, hard hours in the shop all winter to get these cars pretty, and look at this. Beautiful race cars. They've also been doing a lot of testing. These cars have been getting lots of laps put on them to get ready for this opener here at Mosport.
And as we take a look at the 2011 Canadian Tire Series calendar, 12 events this year, 7 of which will be on ovals, 5 will be on road or street courses right across Canada, and a brand new event this year, a 100-kilometer event at the iCar circuit just outside of Montreal.
A lot of buzz about that racetrack, and several teams have already went out there and put some laps down and said it's very promising, should be a good race, and it's next week right after this race at Mosport.
It was a big offseason, though, for the 17 team of DJ Kennington, of course, going down to the big NASCAR banquet and collecting all his hardware for his first NASCAR Canadian Tire Series championship. 5 poles last year. 5 victories, barely edging out the 84 of JR Fitzpatrick.
What a season the kid had. You know, the Castro kid, we call him. While he was down there in Charlotte on the stage getting his trophy, his first NASCAR championship, he got engaged to his girlfriend. What a deal. Congratulations to them on that. But that whole team knows that for 2011, they've got a bullseye on their back. They're the guys to knock off the top of the ladder. You know what? They're ready. They've had no changes in their camp.
And one of the things that may be in their corner this year, you're right, a lack of change for the Kennington crew, but not the story for many of the other teams in the top 15.
Well, you look through the field, the crew chief changes are just like, we're going to need a scorecard. But that's the reason for this testing. Crew chiefs and drivers, they've been out running lots of laps because you know what? They got to learn each other. They got to learn the lingo between what a driver feels in his race car. And you got to know that before you get to the season because it's short and it's fast, and you got to know what changes you're going to make on the run to win this NASCAR championship.
All important is that communication between the crew chief and the driver here in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Another big change this year, a visual one. The brand new Challenger body. A lot of the Mopar-powered guys are running that new body, and what a body it is. Just a great-looking race car.
What a hot rod. True muscle car. I'm telling you, we've watched that car pace the field for the last year or so. Beautiful race car. It's well graphicked on all the race cars this year that changed over. What a muscle car, and it's ready to tear it up.
And 19 cars muscled their way around Mosport Speedway here today for Keystone Light qualifying, and when it was all said and done, it was the 84 of JR Fitzpatrick circled Mosport Speedway at a time of 21.638 seconds. That's an average speed of 83.187 miles an hour. He captures, as I mentioned, the first Keystone Light pole of 2011. Another driver who has no trouble getting around Mosport Speedway, a number of poles and a number of wins, is Don Thompson Jr. He's standing by with Todd Lewis. Todd?
Thanks, guys. Don Thompson Jr. has 2 NASCAR victories here at Mosport Speedway and also a host of other late-model stock car wins here as well. At the end of 2010, he left Fitzpatrick Motorsports and found a new home with Ed Hackinson Racing. We're not going to be seeing Don Thompson in that familiar 4 black car. You're going to be in the number 8 Dodge, and off to a pretty good start. Donnie, you've seen plenty of ups and downs in racing, but this year's a new beginning for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I really have to thank Chaco Motorsports, you know, Farmers Feed Families. They're the people that support me here, and of course Snap-on Tools. But yeah, it's going to be a different year for sure, but we got a great group of guys. We got some guys left over from the number 4 car, and we got some new guys, so pretty exciting year.
Don Thompson Jr. looking for another victory here at Mosport Speedway. Should tell you as well, he is also the car chief for his teammate, the number 3 of Jason Hathaway, who will roll off 6 tonight. When we come back to Mosport Speedway, we'll get the 2011 racing season underway.
The first race of the 2011 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series calendar is brought to you by Mopar, authentic performance. By Castrol Edge, our best Castrol ever. By E3 spark plugs, born to burn. And by OCR Gas Bar, proudly serving the Mohawk community. As JR Fitzpatrick settles in and buckles up, let's send it trackside to Brian and Ron and Watts from Vortex Brake Pads with those famous words.
Ron and Watts for the command we've been waiting for. Driver, start your engine!
Your Keystone Light pole sitter fires up his Equipment Express Chevrolet as the field gets their NASCAR machines up to speed. You'll know, Billy, that Brian Watt from Vortex is a pretty interesting guy. He's a sponsor of a team. He makes the brakes that a lot of these teams use, and he's actually the jackman on the 3 team.
Yeah, and not only that, when he finds time, he races his own ACT late model.
Well, let's see a number of the onboards that will be following along today. You saw Jason White, Dave Connolly, as we take a look at the starting grid for today's race. JR Fitzpatrick on pole. Scott Steckley will start alongside him. Young Stephen Matthews in the 15 will roll off third beside defending champion DJ Kennington. Pete Shepard won the final race of the 2010 season in the 7 car. He'll start alongside Jason Hathaway. Row number 4 brings us Kerry Mix in the 02. Mark Dilley drives the number 9. In row 5, there is Don Thompson Jr. in his 8 car, and in the 60, it's Ron Beauchamp Jr. Looking back to row 6, Jason White from BC, and Jeff Lapsevich drives the 23. Dexter Stacy in the 55, good starting spot for him, and Brad Graham drives the 19. He'll start to the outside of row 7. Pete Vanderwees, welcome to the driver of the 5 car in row number 8. Dave Connolly starts in the number 82. Derek White's in the 99 to the inside of row number 9. Hugo Vanini drives the 97, and rounding of the field today in the 07 is Isabel Tremblay. Billy, a strong field today. Pretty much anybody can win.
That's a great looking field of cars here at Mosport Speedway. Let's take a look at the E3 spark plugs race analysis. The distance is 200 laps. That's 100 miles here at Mosport. The pit window is 80 to 100 laps, and the weather is a crystal clear 20 degrees.
Now, we have had a lot of rain here in the past few days, really throughout Ontario, so that may make a difference as the night wears on. He's to take a look at the great onboard shot that is with Jason Hathaway, and he's got a new crew chief with Craig Masters this year.
Well, Dave, Craig's been with him for quite a while as a crew member, and now he's stepped up to be the crew chief. This is his shot at glory with Jason.
And before we send this field off to the green flag, let's send it back downstairs one more time with Todd, who's taking a look at some interesting stories.
Fellas, a couple of notes just before we go green. Brakes, brakes, brakes. That's what crew chiefs are emphasizing to their drivers. 200 laps on this tough Mosport Speedway is very hard on the brakes. Also, let's focus on the 2 Rookie of the Year contenders. The number 15 car of Stephen Matthews. He was very fast in practice, and you saw his great qualifying effort as he rolls off third. Also in the 07 car, Isabel Tremblay from Quebec. She's racing a very busy schedule. In fact, had a top 5 finish in a sportsman race in St. Eustache last week. This will be her first ever NASCAR Canadian Tire Series event here at Mosport.
Well, Todd, you know, she's in very good equipment. This stuff she's driving is out of the Dave Jacobs camp, and we've seen it win with that guy named Andrew Ranger behind the wheel.
Absolutely, as we take an onboard look from Kerry Mix in the BDI Dickies Ford. He's done lots of testing. Tyler Case has moved over to the crew chief role there. So taking a look at the front row, it's JR Fitzpatrick. It's a former champion in Scott Steckley. Ryan Sampson from Dickies, Canada, is in the tower. He's got the green flag ready to send this field off for the start of the 2011 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series, and we're green.
Up through the gearbox for the first time, heading down into turn 1. It's a drag race. Chevrolet against Dodge down into turn 1.
And Billy, you've been around this track. You know how interesting it is to get around here, especially on the first lap when everybody's all bunched up.
Oh, side by side, there's that big bump on that entrance down into turn 1. You can be down on the bottom. If a guy's got you locked down, you can get into him real easy.
Some bonus points for JR Fitzpatrick in the 84 as he will lead lap number 1 in the 2011 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series here on TSN. Scott Steckley in the Canadian Tire car is looking pretty racy. A little bunching up of traffic coming off of turn number 2. You saw the 19 of Brad Graham get a little crooked, but we stay green.
Down to complete one more lap. DJ Kennington hanging in there on the outside of Pete Shepard Jr.
And Shepard, along with the 15 car, you see the white Ford just in front of the National Exhaust number 7. Pete Shepard and Steve Matthews were 2 of the fastest cars in practice pretty much every time out here today.
Well, they certainly tested a lot and had these cars prepped and ready to go, that's for sure.
poking a nose, that new Dodge Challenger nose underneath the Chevy Impala SS of JR Fitzpatrick. A drag race down the back straightaway. Steckley is going to throw it to the inside. Going into corner number 3, looking for the lead off of corner number 4. Down the front chute they go side by side.
Steckley was able to pick up the throttle right beside JR Fitzpatrick going through the middle of turn 3 and 4. Let's was it. Here he picks up another half a car length right in the middle of the corner.
You watch the cars hop and bounce off of turn number 2 as they take a set and then rocket their way down the back straightaways. We ride on board with Jason White. You can see some smoke as the caution flag comes out. You saw smoke inside the driver's compartment, and there goes the A&W Dodge down pit lane.
Down to the attention of the crew with the 21 car. He's got some smoking issues, and Derek Lynch and crew will go to work.
And that is a brand new situation for the 21 team of Jason White, working out of the DJ Kennington shop this year as the crew takes a look at where that smoke is coming from. 7 laps down here at Mosport. Welcome back to Mosport. The 1 to go signal is given from the flag stand. The 21 A&W drive-through crew working hard to fix an oil line issue. That's the reason for the smoke. We have this opportunity. Todd is caught up with a longtime supporter of stock car racing in Canada. Todd?
Thanks, fellas. With me is Andrew Davies, the Vice President of Automotive for Canadian Tire. Andrew, starting year 5 in this series. Hard to believe it's gone so quickly.
Yeah, it has. It just seems like yesterday we got this thing off the ground, and now here we are 5 years later, getting bigger and better.
And Canadian Tire's involvement continues to grow as well.
Yeah, we're doing our best. I think we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go.
Thanks, Andrew. Looking forward to another great year.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Side-by-side restarts. JR Fitzpatrick alongside that Canadian Tire car, the 22 of Scott Steckley on the outside for this restart. And it looks like JR Fitzpatrick is going to get the edge down the back chute.
He really got a good jump off the green flag. Watch how softly... Oh, the 15 gets into the back of the 84 off at turn 4.
20 laps down, and they're racing like it's 20 to go as Stephen Matthews in the Bill Matthews Motorsports Ford Fusion moves to the top spot. The rookie stripe on the back bumper, and JR Fitzpatrick's going to be looking at that. The stripe's yellow, but he sees red.
Yeah, JR right now will be looking to wipe that yellow bumper sticker off there for sure, but right now, the 15 is fast enough to get away from JR in the 84.
And this really hurt the 22 Scott Steckley. He was looking for a share of the lead. Look, now he's trying to hang on to 4th position there, the 0-2 of Kerry Mix.
Clear all clear. Clear by 1.
That's longtime spotter for DJ Kennington, Alan Pinsino.
And Mix gets to the inside of the 22. Little rub, bump coming off of 4. They're both crossways. And it looks like Steckley will settle in behind the 17 Castrol Edge Challenger of DJ Kennington. The 8-car, Don Thompson Jr., also trying to make that outside groove work. Doesn't look like there's any stick up there, though.
No, that outside groove won't come in until later, and especially once the bottom, after lap 100, the bottom will start to slick up a little bit. It'll take rubber, a little bit of oil, a little bit of coolant, a little bit of brake fluid, a little bit of everything, and the outside will start to work.
See Mark Dilley taking a look underneath the number 3 car of Jason Hathaway as we ride along board his teammate, the 8 of Don Thompson Jr. A brand new car and a fantastic looking piece is that Farmers Feed Family's number 8.
Well, Mike McCall built a beautiful piece for Don Thompson there. That car is fabulous and it's fast.
Another new car for the 9 of Mark Dilley as he ducks underneath the 3 of Jason Hathaway. Seem to just pull up out of that groove and let the driver of the 9 go. Possibly something wrong with Hathaway?
Hathaway's struggling. He's either got a tire going down or they missed the setup altogether, and I can't see them missing the setup, so maybe look for a tire problem on the 3 car.
And here comes the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr., and it looks like Hathaway just put his hand out the window to let the driver of the 60, Beauchamp, know that he was going to give him that inside lane uncontested, so the snap-on Dodge up on the outside groove, and here comes Latsevich going to fill that hole as well.
Well, he just can't get the car pulled down. Right there in the middle of the apex of the corner, the car just slides up, and the 23 drives away.
Todd, something up with that 3 car?
The team reporting that they have some carburetor issues. They're going to bring Jason Hathaway into pit road. The next opportunity during a caution, try to make some repairs and give him a little more power under that hood.
Well, it even sounds like it's not going full RPM down the straightaway. We suspect these cars run anywhere from 7,200 to 7,800 here with the gear rule that NASCAR has imposed.
And there's young Dexter Stacy to the inside